So day 4 of my trek in the Ngorongoro Highlands, and started up with before breakfast, actually not before breakfast, but very early in the morning. Alex and I got up, had a light breakfast, said goodbye to Moses and the donkeys and Rama, and headed off to try to get a view of the sunrise on Ngorongoro Lengai. Alex had told me that he knew a spot. So Alex has the pack on again, and I'm following him, and soon we start going up a very steep hill. And he turns and he tells me it's very steep, but it's short. We will be there soon. And he keeps going, and he's just leaving me in the dust. And he's got the pack on, but I'm old and I'm slow. So we get up to the top, and it has a nice view of Ngorongoro Lengai, but there are clouds all around it. And unfortunately, the sun is going to come up right behind it. So Alex doesn't really understand all of the specifics of getting a good photo, but you know, maybe something will happen. It didn't turn out to, but it was pretty windy up there and quite chilly. The sun had not risen yet, and I could see Alex was cold, so I gave him an extra sweatshirt that I had, and we awaited the sunrise, and I took some photos and a video, but nothing special. It was cool. So we started heading down. First you're heading along the flanks of Ngorongoro Lengai. And it's a very beautiful volcano, a very unique color. It's actually a unique volcano in the world. It has a very silicaceous lava that flows at a much lower temperature than most lava, something like 800 degrees versus 12 to 1500 degrees. And there's actually recorded cases of somebody falling into the lava and surviving. I'm sure it wasn't a good day, but I was supposed to climb the volcano, but I opted to do something else instead. So we were hiking along the flanks, and the soils are, the lava is extremely fine. So each step we take, if there's a little bit of wind, big puff of dust is coming up, and it's a little difficult to hike in a line. If the wind's in the wrong direction, you're going to get a face and a camera full of dust. So that was a bit difficult, but with little care we made our way down. It was also very slippery at any point where there was a flat rock with thin coating of dust or dirt on top. Really easy to lose your step, and Alex was wearing basically tennis shoes, and he was slipping quite a bit. I was a lot happier in my boots. We made our way down, chatting, and passed a lot of people coming up to the village that we had passed through the day before, Niobe village. And at one point, a man with 3 wives and a herd of donkeys was coming up. And all 3 women were beautifully dressed and elegant and clean and nice and looking and all of that. And wife number 1 said, "You want photo?" And I typically decline these kinds of setup things, but I said, sure, why not? So they all stopped and they grouped together, the women grouped together, and I deployed the Hasselblad and I took a couple of shots, and the husband came over and looked inside the lens to see if he could see where the photo had gone. And then there was a bit of negotiation on the price. I eventually paid them, I think, $7.50 for that quick photo session. And wife number 1, Lisa, said, "Where you come from?" And I said, "Well, we were in Niobe village last night, passed through." She says, we are going Niobe village. Where you go to? I said, well, we're going down to Lake Natron. Natron is my village. She says, tomorrow after tomorrow, I will be back in my village. And I said, okay, that's good. And packed up the camera, and they mushed the donkeys and went on their way, and I went on my way with photos and memories. And it was like that. It was nice. Everyone had a little bit of English, and they were friendly, and they wanted to share. So we went on and eventually reached the bottom of the trail and met back up with the Land Rover and Rama and Zuberi, my guide, and we got in, and they drove us to the tented camping that I was going to do at Natron. And wonderful little facility. Most of the people, all of the people that were staying there, were in bandas, thatched huts with some amenities and, full dinner, board. But I was camping, and I had my own little place to camp with no one else. I had my own bathroom with a shower, which was great. And they were filling up the swimming pool for me. It was this fountain-like thing that there was their swimming pool. They had a restaurant, and they had a bar, and a place to charge batteries and phones and the like. So this was pretty high luxury after camping the whole time. I used the shower to wash off a lot of brown water, and Rama brought me my lunch at the pool. And I checked out the bar, and the prices were quite reasonable. I decided that time that a cold beer would be just the thing. And I was sitting there, and Zuberi came up to me and reminded me that I would be taking a hike to Waterfall that day. And I was pretty well ensconced at that swimming pool and enjoying myself. I had my journal and doing some writing. So I negotiated a little bit that we would not start that until 3 o'clock. So around the appointed time, I was standing outside my tent, and a Masaai, a young Masaai, came through, full Masaai regalia and garb, and I said, "Ero sopai," and he looked, and he turned, and he came over to me and extended his hand. He says, "What is your name?" I said, "My name is Jonathan." He said, "Tell me, Jonathan, do you smoke marijuana?" I didn't know what. I mean, am I meeting a Maasai dealer? What's the deal here? I was thinking, how am I going to answer this? I said, well, I may enjoy that in my country, but I would not do that in your country. It is illegal. And he says, my boss is named Jonathan, and he smokes a lot of marijuana. He is French. So I participated in an informal survey of guys named Jonathan. And he went off. And shortly thereafter, my guide, Samuel, was introduced to me. Samuel, again, a Maasai warrior in full regalia. Actually, he was an elder. And he's got the beads, and he's got a necklace with the classic likeness of Che Guevara as the pendant. I knew I was going to like this guy. And off we went for our waterfall hike. And to do this waterfall hike, you walk in the river for quite a bit of the hike, and you cross the river a bunch of times. And Samuel would take my hand, and holding hands, he would point out where to put my feet in various points in this hike. And in their culture, men holding hands is a very normal thing. And I felt in his actions and the way he was treating me, I felt it was a very caring thing. It was interesting and nice. And I was still greeting people initially, the warriors. There are other groups doing this hike. And some French and some Germans, whatnot. And then I was greeting originally the guides who were with them, the Masaai. I'd say Aerosopai. And then I got a little goofy, I guess, and I started greeting the other tourists in Maasai as well. And Samuel was chuckling and laughing. He says, "Jonathan, they do not know what you were saying." And we got to this waterfall, and it's great. It's a waterfall that you can stand under. And then there's a cave, and at the back of the cave there's another torrent, which is quite a bit stronger. You can't swim against it. You have to hold on to rocks. And he gave a great massage, and it was cool, but it's only for the more intrepid. So I did that, and I came back, and I was drying off on the rocks, and there was a Maasai right next to me with this beautiful jewelry in the hair, all interwoven with the hair, the silver jewelry. So I said, "Yaya Tequenya," and his face looks up at me and looks back, and I thought, oh, yeah, I must have gotten the words wrong, and I'm getting ready to repeat myself, and Samuel comes up and says, no, Jonathan, this is not woman. This is not woman. I said, "Oh, I saw that jewelry in the hair. I thought it was a woman." He said, "No, that is warrior." So I said, I guess it's a good thing he doesn't have his spear with him today. And then I got a smile. He looked up at me and gave me a smile. I said, "Pole, Aerosopai." And so didn't go to jail, but almost got killed that day, I guess. And later that day we went, actually, we finished the hike back down, and then we went to Lake Natron itself, and Samuel took me out on Lake Natron to see the flamingos that were there. And there was a group of Maasai that were there selling things to the tourists that come to the lake. And I was in, in my seat in the vehicle, or cleaning the sand out of my toes and putting my shoes and boots on. And he basically protected me from them. He didn't let them accost me, and each one came by him and bowed their head, and he touched them on the head in a blessing. That's why I knew that this is guy, one of the elders, a respected elder. And eventually we gave a couple of the women arrived. I got a video of my guide Zuberi negotiating with who was going to get a ride with us and who wasn't. And that was great. And that concluded my last night of my trek in the Ngorongoro Highlands.